Hey, welcome to Bears Banter. My name is Bernard Muhammad. Today on the broadcast is me and Jay right now. Jay Beasley, how you doing, Jay?
Good. I'm good. I can't complain, man. I could, but you know how that is.
Right. Well, we waiting on Plank. I think Guy was going to pop in for a few minutes. I know he was going bowling today. Tammy is at the game. I know Mike had a fraternity meeting that he was going to try to pop in before that. Man, the Bears fall today 27-24. I mean, what's going on, Jay?
It's all these one-score games, man. We just can't finish. We can't. Ooh, excuse me. We can't finish. And like I said on the previous show, all I want to see is the Bears offense drive down the field at the end of a game and get a score, whether it's tie the game up or win the game. And for the last, I believe, 5 weeks now, they've had the ball in that last possession, and they just have not been able to finish. And it gets to the point, like I was saying off camera, it's frustrating. I mean, I understand it. I mean, the Bears are a bad football team, but it's frustrating. And if you look at all their losses over the last few weeks, they've all been by one score.
Okay. Hey, I see. Hey, welcome to the program, DG Daniels. He said, guess he lost this game, and
the quarterback.
And the quarterback, unreal. I would say I thought Gessie called a bad game today. I thought, especially like down the stretch, those last 2 or 3 plays. I don't understand that because it looked like Justin Fields did not have any burst, even the series before that series. And then he called the play where it was design run, and he got shook up on the sideline at that play because he barely got out of bounds. He was laying there, then they called timeout. So, I mean, how much do you want from your quarterback? And then it looked like, I mean, I didn't understand that series of plays. Like, what was he trying to achieve, Jay?
Yeah, it was a bad series of plays, especially that last drive. The first 2 plays were design runs. Clearly, he was shook up on the sideline prior to that. I mean, Trevor Siemian had his helmet on, and I was saying to myself at the time, I'm screaming at the TV like, "Let Trevor Siemian go in there. Let Trevor Siemian go in there." The bottom line is either we're gonna win, either we're gonna drive down the field and potentially tie the game up, or potentially score, or we not. So I don't understand putting Justin Fields at risk at this point, especially this late in the season. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me either, Jay. Looking at this game, the game looked kind of uninspiring to me. It looked like we didn't come with the same energy that we brought in the previous 3 games. This game, even though it was tied 17-17 at halftime, 17-17 at halftime, it looked like we should have had more production offensively. We blew a couple opportunities. We had a nice kickoff return by Velus Jones and
Velus Jones sighting.
Velus Jones. I want to say it was 55-yard return that we had today. As a matter of fact, I want to bring up this play by Cole Kmet, one of the better plays of today. Let me see if I can bring this up. Look like it's kind of spooling a little bit.
Yeah. That was a heck of a catch.
Yeah, it was a heck of a catch. Definitely.
Heck of a catch. Heck of a catch.
Hopefully this play is going to run. What we have right here, we have
Thanks for nothing, best friends. Y'all had a chance to do our division rival. And it was a lot of Bears fans. It was a lot of Bears fans in Atlanta too, and I think we need to stop traveling for a minute, man, because it seems like we ain't bringing no wins. We ain't bringing no wins home. We ain't bringing no wins home, man.
Like Mike said, hey, I was about to pick the Bears today, but we went down there.
Yeah.
We need to stay y'all butt home when we whenever y'all take over, we lose the game.
Yeah. So we need to stay at home for a minute because it just ain't working out. It's just not working out for the Bears fans.
Yeah, that play is still spooling. I'm gonna stop it, Jay, and try to restart it again and see what happened. But anyway, that was a good catch by Cole Kmet, but it looked like we wasn't able to capitalize on the plays, even or play earlier in the game. We got into field goal range, and we were starting to have undisciplined play. That particular play I'm thinking about, we end up getting a penalty and lost yards. I believe the Bears had about 9 penalties today.
They had 9 last week and they had 8 today.
Okay, 8 today,
and that's very, that's, we didn't start the season off like that. We had 1 or 2 penalties a game, and over these last couple of weeks, we've really become undisciplined on offense and on defense. And Bears should have won this game by 20. Yeah, DG Daniels, you're right. I can't say by 20, but I feel like they should have won this game because, as I was telling Bernard, we have to beat the teams. Anytime I look at teams, if they're on equal playing surface with us, those are the teams I expect us to beat. Now, I didn't expect us to beat the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't expect us to beat the Patriots. But anytime you play like the Lions and the Houston Texans and these types of teams, I just feel like those are games that we should win, and we haven't.
Okay,
but I can't really say nothing about the Lions. The Lions beat the brakes off the Giants today. So hey, while you playing the Lions in second place in the NFC North.
Right, because
the Lions are in second place.
Yeah, you know what? What is it about? It look like teams, as soon as they beat us, they get it together.
They get hot. They get hot all of a sudden. They get hot all of a sudden. Yeah,
Lions on
we
the
need inspiration.
Streak.
Yeah. So, but Justin can't run all season. The 2 quarterback.
There you go.
What is it? Justin can't run all season. He has been banged up. The season is taking a toll on him mentally and physically. Yep, you're right, Rodney. It sure is. I don't know about mentally, but I know mentally, I'm quite sure it's taking a toll on him because he's not used to losing. Justin Fields has been a winner everywhere he's been. And physically, I saw a stat. This dude has ran for 555 yards, not counting today, in the last 5 games. So he's almost at 6. He's at 600 yards. So I know he had 75, 78 yards today. So this dude has ran for 600 yards in 6 weeks. You ain't got running backs that's been able to do that in the NFL. So I'm quite sure it's taking a toll on him physically as well. But mentally, he's not used to losing. So I'm quite sure it's taking a toll on him too.
Okay. Hey, so looking at Justin Fields' stats today, Justin Fields was 14 out of 21, 153 yards, 1 passing TD, 1 INT, 85 yards rushing. He had a rushing TD. He had a total of 238 offensive yards. What's a little disturbing to me is the 18 carries.
Yeah.
Now, and he was sacked, I believe, 3 times today with those 18 carries. Now, a lot of those were design runs, and it looked like they substituted him for Herbert being out this game, and not necessarily Ebner, because I believe Ebner only had about 5 carries.
And he was so ineffective. Because honestly, Justin Fields and David Montgomery was the Bears' total offense today.
Yeah,
I think Montgomery had 160 total yards receiving and rushing, but Cole Kmet had 3 targets for 3 catches. He had 3 targets, 3 catches for like 35 yards. Darnell Mooney, I believe he had 2 catches, the 1 touchdown and a couple of short passes. Claypool had 2 targets. I think he had 2 catches. Outside of that, EQ St. Brown had a couple of catches, but nobody really did anything today on offense. But the bottom line too is, like I said off camera, the Bears can't pass the ball because the Bears can't pass protect. Their pass protection is bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Schofield did an awful job in place of Jenkins today. I know Jenkins is out with a hip injury. As a matter of fact, it's the second game with Jenkins out, and you can see the difference. But Schofield did an awful job today. But they got to find a way also offensively to get Claypool more involved in the offense.
Absolutely.
It seemed like the first game they was trying to work him into the offense, and then it seemed like the last 2 games, I mean, he's not even on the field for that many snaps. I believe he might have had 3 targets today. He had about 2 catches for maybe about 11 yards.
And then you got these other guys, Byron Pringle. He get out there, he get a penalty. It's like these guys are useless, man. They're useless. These guys are useless, man. I just want to. I don't want to rush my time, but I just want to rush this season along so we can see what happened, because these guys that they got out here trotting on the field right now they bad.
Bad. They sure are. You're not with Abner. I know me and Plank really didn't like the way he run the ball, but one of the things I kind of see with him is he's tiptoeing. You you either want to run the ball or you don't want to run the ball.
Right.
Hey, what's up, Plank?
What's up, fellas?
All right.
I heard you talking about old Shook Ebner. he looked shook because as soon as he got the ball, I said, he ain't changed my mind yet. That was a rough one, man. I don't know, man.
Yeah. It was rough. Yeah. I mean, it's like I say, it's like I say, all the.
I didn't see a whole lot. I mean, I know with your quarterback, you got a young quarterback, you always want to get reps, to get them. But I didn't really see a lot in this game that you could take away, because you really I would like to see them push the ball down the field. Now I know they had one where he overthrew it downfield. I want to say
Simone.
Yeah.
He overthrew him.
Okay. We got to work those a little bit more. Matter of fact, I think that was more of he just outright beat his guy. But we're not taking enough shots, and I understand getting your quarterback in the rhythm. But a few times in this game, I'm like, man, if they throw that little screen one more time, it's gonna be a pick six. Because it was like the defenders was getting closer and closer because they like ran that play to the same exact play. I would say about 6 times in this game or more.
My takeaway is that they missed Tevin Jenkins and they missed Khalil Herbert because, they are strong components for that running game. So, strangely enough, with our running game, either it's going to be Montgomery's having a good day or Herbert's having a good day, not both of them. And because we didn't have a good running presence today, they tried to substitute just by having Justin Fields actually be a RPO runner, and that's not how he's been successful in the last 5 weeks. So that's my feeling about it.
Okay, DJ, DG Daniels. Just to go back, I mean, it is guys getting open. I'm not saying that they're not getting open. I'm talking when I talk about the Byron Pringles of the world that we talking about right now. I'm talking about he coming in for one play and he got a holding penalty. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about that. Dudes are getting open. Justin, for some reason, he overthrew Mooney, and then a lot of times he just don't have time to throw the ball. The offensive line, they can run block, and I give it to them. They some road graders, but in pass pro, they are very, very bad.
Yeah, I do agree with you, DG Daniel, about receivers are open on some plays. I do know we got to get rid of the ball a little bit faster. And, I hate to kind of judge that last throw because I know he was clearly hurt, but would take that out of the factor on some of those balls like that. Justice had to bring those balls down. But I don't think he was throwing to that receiver. I think he was trying to throw.
I said the same thing. He wasn't throwing to Montgomery. He was throwing to the receiver that was behind him, that was coming on the crossing route. And it just happened, and Montgomery just happened to be there, and he threw his hands up. I said the same thing, but now I was like, he wasn't even really trying to throw to Montgomery.
Yeah, so in reference to that, he didn't have a lot of times. I believe, how many times I say he was sacked? 3 times today.
He was sacked 4 times today, 3 in the second half.
Okay, and
I believe they was ugly too.
Yeah,
ugly hits.
Yeah. I think the sack totals were a loss of 25 yards, I believe.
Well, actually, he got hit quite a number of times without getting sacked.
Mm-hmm.
So he was getting hit on some of those RPOs. A couple of times he let the ball go and he got hit by the lineman, hits on the quarterback. So I'm pretty sure he's at least sore He may be a little bit worse than that. So we have to see when the press conference actually opens.
But
Yeah,
I'm gonna
because that
tell y'all
sideline
something.
throw didn't look good at all. I mean, that sideline hit. I really didn't think he was gonna get up. I mean, I know they called a timeout to kind of let him come back in. They probably should have just let him come out that play versus, yeah, because I didn't get that because he definitely looked hurt on that play. He on the sideline rolling around, and you like, okay, let's just call a timeout. You know what I mean? Like our coaches did us in the 80s, right? Put some duct tape on it.
Well, in
And
the
then, like
80s, I expect that in the 80s, not now with concussion protocol and all of that. So I mean, he was visibly hurt. So I was expecting them to take him out or even get the backup quarterback ready, even if he just comes in for one play.
And that's what I said, Keith. And that's what I said because Trevor Siemian actually had his helmet on and walked on the field. And I said, and I told Bernard off camera, I'm like, at this point, you might as well. What we got to lose? Right. What do we have to lose? So it's yeah. And I can't say I just want to say this real quick, and I'm not one that harp on referees, but man, it's been so man. These referees are really. I think they need to make them full time because it's almost like they making some horrible calls, man. It was a few times where Justin got hit in the head. Mm-hmm. Had it been Tom Brady or anybody else, that would have been a penalty. Yeah. Grady Jarrett hit Justin Fields after he slid. That would have been a penalty, and it wasn't called. Yeah. And you got to call these penalties. If you call it for everybody else, you got to call it for Justin too.
Okay. Yeah, I was laughing at Rodney's comment about us. Maybe we should have kept Andy Dalton. No, y'all got Andy Dalton.
He clearly hasn't seen Andy Dalton play. That's why he is with the Saints now.
Yeah, so, right.
Yeah, y'all can have him.
And while y'all playing, the Red Rifle had him a good game today.
He was due.
he had him a good game today.
They paid him real money to play too, right? So. Wait,
we have a user on YouTube that says Jay is correct. The pass blocking has to get better.
At this point, I feel like if Tevin Jenkins is not going to be healthy for the next few games, I want to see Alex Leatherwood because now at this point we need to see what we got going into 2023. And you picked up his salary. So now you need to see what this guy can do. Whether you play him at guard or whether you play him at tackle, you got to see what you got.
Right. I didn't like what I saw out of Riley Ridley today either.
Well, he played a bad game today. Riley Reid played a bad game today. He was okay the last couple of weeks, but today he played pretty bad today. The entire offensive line played bad today.
Hey, Tammy,
how you doing?
Hey, Tammy.
How y'all doing?
All right, man. Yo, people down there taking over in Atlanta and messed us up today.
How you gonna blame me?
Hey, like Mike said, Chicago Bears fans need to stay their butt at home, man. Every time we go take over a city, we lose.
No, last time I came to a game in Atlanta, we won.
Well, I ain't talking about last time. I'm talking about today. I'm talking about this season. They took over Dallas and we got our butts handed to us. They took over Atlanta and we lost again. So, man, y'all, we need to stay at home. Y'all. Stay at home and watch the TV.
Atlanta people here anyway, so it don't take much to take over Atlanta.
Yeah, that's true. But
our defense is trash.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, hold on again.
Yes,
I always got to level set everybody.
Please don't tell me you're going to defend this defense.
I am. Because right now, what happens here is that's always the default thing to say. Defense. Offense, again, at the end of the game, with the ball, comes up with nothing. As a matter of fact, they didn't even go into a under 2-minute offense drill. Yeah, so it's real easy to always say, defense, because they gave up touchdowns. As a matter of fact, special teams gave up one one touchdown.
There it is.
Well,
Hey, the last 3 weeks. I was telling Bernard the last 3 weeks. We missed the extra point. We had a punt block return for a touchdown, and now we had a kickoff return for a touchdown. Special teams has lost us some games over the last few weeks.
And
Jay,
to your point, defense does suck.
Now, Keith, you know he says 1990. What? Like a long time. So you know I don't just attack the defense. I want our defense to do well, but
the last 3 years you didn't attack the defense pretty consistently.
That's not true. Go back and watch the tape. That's not true. I only attack them when they trash.
They've been trashed for quite a while.
They haven't been trashed for quite a while. We had a top 10 defense last year. What are you talking about?
No, we lost 5 games in a row and gave up 30 burgers on all of those 5 games. So
that was Nagy.
That's a misnomer, and people try to act like that's what happened. Bernard just posted last week. This is what happened last year during Nagy's time. The defense gave up quite a few points in each one of those games, even though they were ranked higher. But the defense was giving up 30 points a game then. With Khalil Mack, with Roquan Smith, with Akeem Hicks.
Robert Quinn, Akeem Hicks, all them guys, yeah.
Now, when you look at the Bears this year, Jay, you just mentioned something about special teams. I want to go to that for a minute.
They're not special.
I'm really starting to look at the special teams coach. I'm looking at the special teams coach. You start the season off, I know it was a Masood, but you start the season off missing extra points, right? Okay. It seemed like from that point on, you could almost look at every game and you see some special team error that either led directly to a score or they actually scored on that play. I mean, you had 2 games that were lost right in the last few minutes because of muff punts, right?
Well,
the Washington game, for sure, they didn't even score a touchdown other than the muff punt is how they got the touchdown, and that game ended up being, I believe, 7-12 in that game.
Well, another thing too, Bernard, he clearly didn't do his homework. If you kick the ball to Cordell Patterson on the kickoff, the dude's known to run back kickoffs for touchdowns. So today against the Bears, he broke the NFL record.
And who was on our team and got called trash?
He got called trash as a running back. He was trash as a running back. Let's not. I
ain't never. I
remember calling.
Who called Patterson trash?
We said he wasn't a good running back.
I was sitting behind this guy in Atlanta who said, "Thank you for giving them Cordell Patterson because they didn't have a running game before we gave him them."
Well, we didn't give him to him. Well. If we want to get technical about it, we didn't give him to him. He was a free agent and he signed with them. I mean, he signed the contract with us. His contract was up, and he decided to go elsewhere. So, I mean, that was his prerogative.
That was his prerogative. Called him trash.
No, I don't remember calling him trash because he was good for us as a kick returner.
Good for us for a kick returner.
A kick returner and a gunner on special teams. He was very good for us, but he decided to go.
Guy was just making jokes about them keep running the jet sweep with him.
Right.
But I never thought he was trash. I thought he was just a player that you could use in multiple ways. Right. You end up he run the ball. He give you stuff in the kickoff game. I mean, he always been that player, you know. I mean, because he gave us some good kickoff. Matter of fact, I think we had 1 or 2 returns.
He did. He had 2 returns.
It still falls on Santos in one sense because you're expecting him to kick the ball out the end zone.
Out the end zone.
He did the same thing last week.
Exactly.
One last week that was almost returned, and then he kicked one after that went out of bounds that put the team on the 40th. So as much as Santo has been clutch on the field goals, he's been kind of suspect on these extra points and kickoffs.
Hey, did y'all see him
he's real good from 55 yards. If you try to have him kick from 56, it's gonna be a problem.
Hey, did y'all see him make that business decision with Cordell Patterson was running the kickoff? He's like, no, I ain't gonna get this dude's way. Yeah, he's like, nah, let it be.
Yeah. You know, when you look at a game like this, it like I said, it looked uninspiring, and I never really got a feel today that I thought the Bears was gonna win this game. I never felt that. I mean, I might have picked them, but as this game was playing, it looked like they never felt like they was gonna win this game. Matter of fact, I was even worried about Santos might miss that extra point when they tied the game. I mean, it just felt like something was gonna happen, and I guess that's the thing about it too, that fans, we're feeling those moments, right? That we talk about with players, when players start choking, they start choking in those moments where it becomes important. And I think even us as fans, some of us starting to feel that, like, okay, what are they gonna do now to blow some game that they maybe can win? What's that, Jay?
And I just felt, I was just saying, I felt when we went in at halftime at 17-17, I was totally uninspired. I'm like, okay, you know what? We ain't gonna win this game. I knew it then. When they tied the game up, the Bears was up 17-7, I believe. And then they tied it 17-17 and went into halftime. And I was like, okay, you know what? We ain't gonna win this game. And I knew it. And they came out, I think they gained 12 yards or maybe 30, they had 11 plays for 11 yards in the third quarter at one point. And I knew it then. I was like, you know what? We're not gonna win this game.
You know what, though? We complaining about, the Bears choking and all of that. They're not. They're consistent. we lose the exact same way every week.
Every week.
That's right.
By one score. It's always one score every week. Every week. For the last 7 out of the last 8 games. It's one score. Outside the Dallas game.
They just lost, like, no, it was prescribed this way, and that's about as good as we can do.
I haven't felt like they got into a rhythm. That's what I felt, and I didn't know if it was because I was there, and sometimes, I don't know, it's harder to watch a game in the stadium versus TV, but it just never felt like they got into a rhythm.
Not a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think they got into a rhythm either. And this game clearly, to me, appeared to be them leaning on Justin Fields too much for a run, because it seemed like they didn't have a rhythm, but it seemed like they were like, hey, just take off Justin and get us. Because some of those design runs, I was like, why? I mean, like I said, near the end of the game, it didn't look like they had anything. But as far as the passing game, I didn't see any consistency on what they were trying to do, other than just, let's just pass a few plays because we have to, right? But they clearly missed Khalil Herbert in that game because Abner he's just not going right now. He's just not able to get it done. He doesn't run like he really wants to get yards. Tammy, like she froze. Oh, okay.
No, there you go. What'd you say, Tammy?
Oh, what was Khalil Herbert? I was wondering where he was at. I missed that. What happened to him?
Oh, he's on IR. He's on injury reserve for hip injury. Yeah, he's on injury reserve for hip injury. But I'm gonna tell y'all the one thing I can take away from this game. The one thing I can take away from this game is to show you how special Justin Fields could be. Is that pass to Montgomery on the sideline when he rolled out and he pointed, it told him to cut it up. That dart that he threw, that's the Justin Fields that could be the quarterback of the future if he got some weapons. Because that pass, everybody can't make that pass.
Well, that was a pretty nice dart that he threw to Mooney on that touchdown pass as well. So
that one too. So we seeing glimpses of what could be. Mm-hmm. We seeing the glimpses of what can be. We just got to get some weapons around him, and we got to get an offensive line in front of him.
Okay. Hey, Mark Chin said the design runs are too many. You can't be a bell cow running the ball.
Running back and a quarterback. Right.
Mark, you're 100% correct.
I agree.
And go back to another one of the things he said. He said they consistently inconsistent.
That's also accurate.
That's accurate. Accurate.
Yeah, because like what he's saying about being a run. Really, you're trying to play running back and quarterback at the same time. It can be taxing on a player who's taking hits. It's one thing, say Lamar Jackson. I'm just using his name because he runs a lot. But Lamar Jackson is actually, from the games I watch, if he gets sacked, it's because he's scrambling. He's not getting just sacked because of poor protection.
Right.
So you got your quarterback
right.
who's getting hit on plays that you have poor protection. Then he's getting hit on plays where he scrambles and run. Then he get hit on plays where you have design runs. Your quarterback, my point is, getting hit too often. Mm-hmm. So you can't have your quarterback with 18. I know it may sound contradictory to some of the games we just saw the last few weeks, but you cannot have your quarterback having 18 carries. 18. That's a lot of carries for a quarterback. I believe he had more carries.
He had more carries than Montgomery did.
Montgomery had about 15 carries.
Right,
and your quarterback had 18.
Right.
Well, also, in looking at Montgomery run, I'm a little concerned about him because as soon as he gets the ball, he has zero lane to go through. I don't know if it's because of his running style or the offensive line isn't blocking it all, but it's almost like he's ready just to, wear it as a badge of honor that I can sit up and I can fight everybody. When a couple of times he could have actually just ran away from the guys that was standing in the flat. So it's almost like he's running towards contact to prove that he's tough, as opposed to trying to just gain yards, which is exactly different from what Herbert tries to do. So,
yeah, that's what I do complain about sometimes with him. Is sometimes I do say I wonder, is he actually looking for contact? And it's nothing wrong with avoiding contact if it's not there. It's not the 1980s where if people criticize you, right, because you avoided a tackle or you ran out of bounds. You realize you actually could prolong your career by not taking those as many hits. And if we have to run out of bounds, but there were a few plays, like you said, playing where I was like, maybe we could have went 1 yard over, and even if we end up tackling, it's not just so head on, right? But it's kind of like, I know that may get him going. Is he seems to get more fired up as he's getting hit. I don't know, but that takes a toll on you too.
Yeah, Bernard, you know what? On defense, I was sitting up there watching the game, and I was trying to say, this looks familiar, and I couldn't figure out why it looks familiar. It reminded me of playing touch football in high school, where you had no pass rush. You had to say 1001, 1002. And then you would go after the quarterback. So you don't usually see that in a professional football game, but that's exactly what the Bears defense reminds me of. And it's sad to say, but I don't think we got one. I don't even know if we pinched that quarterback today.
We didn't. We had zero quarterback pressures and zero sacks.
Mm-hmm. How is that even possible?
How is that even possible? And it makes the secondary look bad, because the bottom line is, if you don't get pressure on the quarterback, your secondary, it's just like they said that pass that Justin ran around for 12 seconds. Eventually, somebody was going to get open. Equimini St. Brown came all the way back from the end zone to make that catch that he made.
Hey,
but he had 12.
He called the ball.
At least he called it, though. At least he called it. But that was a 12-second play. Yeah. That was a 12-second play, and your secondary just can't cover for that long. They can't cover for that long.
Okay. Hey, so y'all want to give grades on the offense today? And this is a hard.
It's hard
because what we've been seeing in the Bears too is you're definitely seeing a letdown in the third quarter a lot, right? In these games.
Well, real quick, Bernard.
What's that?
It was a stat that they put up. This was the first game this year the Bears didn't score in the third quarter.
Right.
So,
okay.
So that ended that drought. But they had scored in every third quarter this year in every game except today.
And what was their average score in the third quarter? Because it seemed to be pretty low in the third quarter.
I think they were pretty high.
Were they pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
today just looked bad.
The delay. Yeah, today it looked bad. I'm gonna have to give the offense. I'm gonna give them a C minus.
Okay.
Anybody else got a grade offense?
I'm giving them a C. No, I'm giving them a D plus.
A D plus.
Once because the offensive line looked so terrible every time Fields got the ball. I mean, he was getting hit by some guys that were like rotational defensive linemen that just came off the bench. Was like, hey, I'm about to get me a sack. That the announcers even mentioned that. They say, hey, this guy looks like he's an all-pro all of a sudden. So the offensive line didn't really give us anything. Our running backs, if we take Justin Fields out the equation, they didn't give us anything either. So, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say Montgomery had a pretty good game today. He had 160 all-purpose yards. Yeah. Oh yeah. Montgomery had a pretty good game today. I'm gonna give him a C minus like Bernard. Like I say, at this point, for the rest of the year, I'm grading the offense on just the skill players only, and I'm leaving the offensive line out because the bottom line is everybody know our offensive line is bad. So I don't even want to put everybody else in that same pot. So I'm gonna give them a C minus.
Okay, C minus. Tammy, you got a grade for the offense?
I'll give him a C minus like y'all. I mean, I really don't know. I thought it was pretty anemic. I mean, they put up some points. Y'all always talking about they only average 14 or 16 points. They putting up more points, but they look terrible doing it.
Yeah, Tammy, it did not feel like they had 24 today.
It didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you saw it on the scoreboard. It felt like they had about 7 to me.
because I had to think about it. I'm like,
it felt like it was tied. It felt like they was losing to me. I don't know if that sounds weird, but when it was 17-17, it felt like they was losing. But I'm looking at it like, well, it's tied, but I'm like, but it feel like they're losing.
Well, part of that is because we were up 17-7, and
right.
It was their response to us being up. The rest of the game was just basically a beatdown. So that's probably why we feel that way a little bit. I didn't mean to cut you off, Jay.
No, I was just saying because I had to think back, like, okay, how did we score? I was like, who scored a touchdown? And then I had, Mooney scored a touchdown. Then you had Justin Fields, and then you had Montgomery in the field goal. I'm like, I had to think about where our 24 points came from because it just really didn't look like I said, once the Falcons tied the game at 17, right at the half, before halftime, I was like, okay, you know what? This is not going to be good because I knew the defense wasn't going to be able to stop them. And it's almost like now with Bears games, it's almost like whoever got the ball last, that's going to win. That's who winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically, we had the ball last, but we turned it over.
Well, technically, you're right.
So it ain't whoever had the ball last because we've had the ball last
for the last few weeks. So I stand corrected. You're exactly right. I stand corrected.
You know what? For us to win, we have to be up 2 scores.
Like we was against the Patriots.
About 50 seconds left.
right. Like we have to come out and just score a lot of points like we did against the Patriots. Because if you remember, the Bears really didn't score a whole lot of points in the second half of that game when they beat the Patriots. They scored a lot of points in the first half. So it's almost like we need to get a triple-digit lead in order to secure a victory right now.
I think this was the only game this year that I remember watching, hoping the game would be over just so Justin Fields didn't get hurt.
Yeah,
I usually don't feel like that. I'm like, hey, we can still get a chance to win. But it looked like the longer we played, the more beat up he was going to get. And I usually don't have that perspective. But Gabby, you think the Bears
think the players playing well today? I don't know about that.
Gabrielle was able to. I don't know if she's able to watch it today. Usually, she's able to catch the second half of the game because of the time she get off. So I don't know. Okay. Maybe she's just happy to watch the game today.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if they played well. I ain't gonna give them that.
Hey, as far as the Bears defense, I guess technically, Plank, I could do the math you did. The Bears defense gave what 20 points? I guess that's
Yeah.
you know what? You gotta find a way to get a pass rush. Now, what was interesting in this game was they was bringing people, but still couldn't get there.
You're right.
It wasn't like they didn't blitz today. It was some games where we were complaining that they were just rushing 4 and couldn't get there. But today, I remember one play they rushed 6, and still nobody actually. I think Mariota got scrambled and got back to the line of scrimmage or gained 1 yard on a particular play I'm thinking about. But they're not getting there at all, and I'm disappointed in some of the players like Muhammad, in particular guys like that, because those were guys. He's a guy that actually played with Flutes in Indianapolis. I want to say he came over from Indianapolis, and even though last year he had what appeared to be maybe a breakout year, maybe they overvalued him because you expect coaches or they bring players in, that come with them. They have more insight of what that player looks like, right? And they're probably telling the GM, "Hey, got this player on the team." Kind of like to me, like Getsy and Lucas Patrick, right? I would say Lucas Patrick was probably more of a Getsy suggestion. I don't know, but he was there with him. You bring a guy from Green Bay, and you think the coach is telling you a little insight, right? And so I don't know. Those are players that I think the coaching staff brought over that have not worked out because whenever Muhammad is there, he's not even near a play.
Nope. Him. And who are our linebackers? That's what I want to know. Who played linebacker for the Chicago Bears? Outside of Sanborn.
Yeah.
He can't tackle. He can't catch. He can't do.
More out there with just 2 elbows,
he dropped the interception. He had missed tackles. Who's the other linebacker? Joe Thomas. All these other guys. I don't even know who these guys are. And they don't show up on the stat sheet. They don't even show up on the stat sheet.
Yeah. The crazy thing about Morrow, if you watch him all year, even when he was in the middle, Morrow actually does the right thing most plays. He just can't execute
until it's time to tackle him.
But if he does, he's at the hole a lot. He actually shot the right gap, but he does not bring his man down when he gets there. So I guess it's almost like if you go back to school, having the answers to the test and still get it wrong.
It's still get it wrong. Right. So if I had to grade the defense today, they only gave up 20 points. Again, I would give them a C-. But the bottom line is we have no pass rush, and when you can't rush the quarterback, you can't win a game, and that's just the bottom line.
No, me and Jay both picked the Bears 28-24. It wasn't 27-2. So I don't know where y'all came up with that.
Hey, Gabrielle is defending herself. She said we kept it close. Right. Fields was moving around, extended plays, and what she said, that catch by Komet and the catch by Montgomery, those were 2 good catches. I was
those probably was the best 2 plays of the game too.
Yeah.
Well, it's a shame that we start giving our team credit for not losing as bad as they lost the week before. Like we forget the goal is to win the game. We played to win the game.
Right.
You know what?
No, go ahead, Bernard.
We are now the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
If you look at the Detroit Lions the last 2 years, and I know a lot of times people don't watch Detroit Lions games, and a lot of times we just say they were just bad teams. But if you look at Detroit Lions, a lot of times the last 2 years, they lost a lot of games in the last minute of games, and they lost a lot of games with maybe less than 1 score. So they lost a lot of games by 3 points, 5 points. We have supplanted them it's almost like we replaced them and the Vikings are replacing the Vikings right now. I mean, the Green Bay is replacing the Vikings right now.
Were you asking for defensive scores?
Yes, defensive scores.
I got to give them a D, only because, I could give them an F because I didn't feel like at any play in the game they were actually going to stop Atlanta. So it was a little bit sad. You start looking for anything you can kind of hang your hat on and say, hey, they held them to a 9-play drive. Yay. That's not what defense is. So
Right.
again, they no pass rush. Linebackers, they did some decent tackling. They were in position to do decent tackling, but they missed a whole lot of those. And the defensive backfield, they can't hold up making all of those tackles. We actually saw number 6, whoever he is. I can't think of the young man's name right now. He went out with a concussion. Kyler Gordon. So he's probably in concussion protocol as well. So yeah, defense sucked. I agree, Tammy.
Yeah, I think Kyler Gordon I think he had probably concussion on that play where
Mariota scored the touchdown. Mariota scored the touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah, because he kind of lunged at him as he was coming forward, and both of them looked shook up on that play. He kind of got him more like in the gut, because Mariota kind of laid there for a second. But I give the defense a D today. They got no pressure on the quarterback. They really wasn't that good in the run game either. They wasn't really that good in the pass game. The punter still barely played. I want to say the Falcons almost possessed the ball. I don't know what the actual time possession, but it looked like they possessed the ball almost the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even though I think they only had one score in the fourth quarter, but they possessed the ball almost the whole quarter. Your defense got to be able to get the offensive team off the field and not let them convert third down, especially in drives like that. What's going on in the fourth quarter? Well, those drives took a real long time because I actually thought the Bears might not even get the ball back the way they was driving the ball at that point.
They made it look like Damon Bird, the guy that was on the Bears last year, could actually play wide receiver.
Right.
That guy sucked. I don't know if he got two catches the whole last year, and he had like 4 or 5 catches in this game. I was like, I didn't know he could do that. We watched every game last year, so.
Yeah, that's funny, man. That's funny. The Falcons got 10 ex-Bears players on their team. 10 ex-Bears.
And what's their record?
Well, they're better than ours.
They're 5.
Well, that ain't hard to be right now.
That's true.
5 and 6 now.
I think they're 5 and 6. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're in second place in their division.
Mm-hmm.
In second place in their division, they still got playoff aspirations.
Playoffs.
Hey.
Look, you got a grade for the defense, Tammy?
D. 0 pressure, 0 sacks, horrible tackling.
Okay. Like Fred Sanford, D is for dummy.
Sanborn got 9 tackles. Brisker got 11. Eddie Jackson 7 tackles, and Kyler Gordon 7 tackles. That's way too many tackles by your defensive back.
By your secondary, exactly. By your secondary. So that tells you something right there.
A lot of people were getting close enough to DBs that had to be tackled by him. So
Yep. That tells you something right there.
In fact, I want to go when you look at this. I want to say, I think Eddie Jackson probably is second without looking at the stats to verify this. If somebody want to look it up, he's probably second on the team in solo tackles, and he was definitely second even when Roquan was here, which is disturbing because he's one of the least targeted safeties in the league. So that means he's not making tackles on his man. It's different if he's making tackles on his man.
On his man, right.
He's one of the least targeted safeties in the league, but he's probably the second leading solo tackles on the team, which is mean people are getting to their level very often, or he's running across the field making tackles on other people who are getting burned.
And we gave him a hard time for the last couple of years for making those career decisions, but there's nothing I can say against him. He's playing a heck of a season this year.
Yeah.
I brought that up because I've seen about 3 plays today that Eddie actually made a hell of a tackle. In one of the plays, I want to say if Eddie had not made that tackle, they would have scored on that play.
Mhm.
And then there was one play where Eddie laid out and knocked the guy out on the sideline. And I was like, whoa, it was a nice hit by Eddie.
He was, and they probably scored the next play, but
they probably did. But Atlanta had some empty possessions as well that we did not take advantage of, where they had some drives too that didn't lead to anything, but it did run a clock. They did have some clock because this game went pretty fast.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Before 3 o'clock, wasn't it?
Before 3 o'clock. Yep.
Yeah.
Did they have any plays where they actually lost yards? I don't know if we even got a tackle for loss.
I mean, we had some plays. Yeah, we had some plays where we had tackle for loss, but I mean, you have a tackle for loss and then give up 12 yards the next play, then it don't really matter.
Like, we'll make up for it. Don't worry.
We'll make up for it, right? And that's what they was doing.
Okay, hey, so I'd like to thank everybody who's watching us on YouTube and Facebook. Please hit the subscribe button. Hey, let's move over to the special teams. We'll be saying special teams and doing special.
We're going to call them the Special Olympics teams.
F. I give them an F.
They gave up a touchdown. Okay, that's bad. They get Valus Jones had a 50-yard return. That's good. They got a fumble recovery from special teams.
I forgot about that.
Santos ended up kicking a 50-yard field goal. Special teams didn't do that bad, but they definitely did give up that touchdown. So
they gave up the touchdown. And not only that, they gave up the touchdown this week. They gave up the block punt the week before for a touchdown, the missed extra point. So it's just all a cumulative grade over the last 3 weeks.
Uncle Bernard's point, they're gonna fire that coach.
Last week for last week. You can't.
Hey.
It's consistently inconsistent.
It's consistently inconsistent.
I'm gonna get special teams to see. I
forgot about all the good stuff, though.
Yeah, because they made some positive plays today, but I didn't like that play calling sequence where right when they attempted that field goal, I don't think they did enough to try to get them in better field position in that drive. Right. That drive, I don't know. It's something about Getsy when they get a turnover or something. It seemed like the play calling gets horrible. Like when they had the turnover on the special teams play, it was almost like, what are you doing? Are you trying to move the ball? So
it's like he's not going for the jugular. Most teams when they get the turnover, they go out there and like, bam, we finna hit them in the mouth. We finna score right quick. It's almost like, oh, we got the ball back. Handoff left, handoff right. It's like no going for the jugular. Anytime after a turnover, and that's what he doesn't do.
Yeah, you gotta go for the juggler and have a sense of urgency. I know I'm going back to the offense that last drive. There didn't seem to be no sense of urgency. Even the fact that you call 2 runs, there seemed to be no sense of urgency.
Right.
I mean, that play was like, do you realize there's only 1:47 seconds left? I mean, like, what are you doing?
Right.
You call, and then the next play you call to me looked like the same exact play. Right? Like, okay, like what is this about? Right. So
it was terrible clock management. You're right.
Yeah, clock management. So I'm gonna give the coaches today a C- because I'm gonna keep complaining about this with the head coach. You gain nothing by keeping all your timeouts going into halftime. Even if you just call them just to give guys a break, call it. I haven't seen a game yet, unless something was going on, that he actually used more than one timeout before halftime. I mean, it's not like basketball. If you don't use them, you get to carry them over. I mean, just use it. Even if you're getting your guys a break. Poor clock management by the Bears, and I think they kind of didn't have a sense of urgency as far as coaches. So I give the coaching staff a C overall. Anybody else got grades on the coaches?
Yeah, I definitely got a grade on the coaches as well. I thought that Everflus did a good job throwing the flag on that special teams play because had he not done that, we wouldn't have got the ball back and they would have just gave the ball to Atlanta. So that was a good thing that he did. However, as far as making any adjustments after halftime, I haven't seen those for the last couple of games. As well as at the end of the game, we had nothing to address that scenario. Under 4-minute offense, this is what you do. Under 2-minute offense, you had field goals. I mean, you had timeouts. We should have been trying to drive the ball down the field to Bernard's point, and it was just like we were running regular plays, like maybe we'll run for an 80-yard touchdown from this handoff. So it's like the coaches almost gave up as well. I gave the coaches a C. I don't know why we're giving them C's because we're still losing games. I thought the coaches were supposed
Right.
to elevate us to actually getting wins. By the time we're talking about 4, 5, 6, 7 losses in a row, we got to start evaluating those guys accurately as well.
Okay.
I hate when that happens, Jimmy Red.
Well, I give special teams a C. I give coaching a D.
Okay.
I thought it was a terrible game called.
Yeah, and I'm gonna agree with Tammy. I'm gonna give the coaches a D as well.
You get the coaches a D as well. Okay.
I was there. I actually expected and was hoping for a more exciting game. I was like, what are they doing? Like it was.
I think the special teams coach is ultimately going to end up being fired because he's done a pretty terrible job all year. I think the defensive coordinator might be on shaky ground as well. I'm not sure how you evaluate them with the players that we have selected, but we have to do better than that. Tammy, that's what happens when you stay up all night doing all that partying with the Chicago people. You can't.
I was asleep. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm asleep.
Oh, you yawning in the middle of you talking about the Bears, so it's all right.
You wonder.
Watching the Bears will make you yawn.
You know what? We all should have just started joining in on that yawn. You right.
Hey, because I had a hard time sitting on the couch. I was kind of nodding myself. So, hey,
I went to sleep. I just had a few beverages. That's all.
There you go.
Now Jimmy Red said you listen to that house music.
House music all night long.
We got some video. You was at Bulu's party.
No, I didn't go to Bulu's party. My cousin tried to get me to come. I was like, I'm asleep. I went to Harold's. I met James and his wife. They were playing house music. I had a good time, but I was home at 8 something.
Okay. Oh, you was early bird. I didn't get home till 10 o'clock last night. So, hey, you was early bird.
A couple of viewers gave us some scores. Mike Day gave the coaches a C. No, Mike changed his. Mike changed it to a D.
Good call.
No, good call.
He changed it to a D. I saw another grade up here. I think I saw a C or D by somebody else.
Yeah, what
Jimmy
a chin
Red
get
said he only saw the fourth quarter.
You saw enough. Trust me.
You saw enough.
Hey, who was that? Oh, that's my daughter. Okay.
As exciting as last week game was, even though it was a letdown at the end, this game was, if you could even say this, it felt like the Bears played down to Atlanta's level. I know it's hard to say that because the Bears is the worst team, but it seemed like the last 2 or 3 weeks they played with urgency in the game. Were more excited, even though the final score was disappointing as far as having a loss. Like I said, this game through the whole game, other than being up a little bit, it felt like they were behind in this game. So I'm starting to. I hate when teams start developing a losing culture, and that's my concern. And that's what I was kind of detecting on that last drive. Like there was no sense of urgency in the fact that, we probably lose this game anyway. I mean, I know people debate me and say, the coaches won't be doing that. But it felt like that they were not trying to score, that they were just trying to just like Plank said, hey, let's just call this, and maybe Justin may bust a 40 or 50-yard run. You just seen him limp on the sideline. What makes you think he was going to run 50 yards?
You know, at this point, I hear a whole lot of people that are elevating Getsy, talking about he's going to be a head coach next year or whatever. I don't see it. He's had too much inconsistency from the offense, as well as, you know, how many games have we come from behind and actually won? Right. That's got to go directly to Getsy, I would think. He's right. Jimmy Red, we can't stop the run. You're right.
Yep. Yep. You're exactly right.
So hey, who's on the next? Who's on the next game coming up?
The Jets.
Oh, you know what? We're gonna win that game.
We always play well against the AFC. I don't know if we're gonna win, but I always say the Bears always play well against AFC teams.
Justin Fields is 3-0 against quarterbacks from his class. That's the only thing we beat.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. You're right about that.
Hey, we got to find something positive to hold on to these games.
Otherwise, this is depressing, man. I started drinking. Okay, I didn't. But I felt like I wanted to start drinking. How about that?
I could say
it's a primetime game with the Jets. Or?
No, it's a 12:00 game. We done with primetime.
Okay,
we done with primetime for the rest of the year. We done.
Did you see what the
already had
Jets did?
2 wins.
The Jets lost a game, giving up an 84-yard punt return with like 5 seconds left.
Today?
Yeah, they lost to the
Patriots. Wow. Okay. I was gonna say I didn't know. I know the Jets was playing the Patriots. I didn't know what the score was, but I would tell y'all Dallas beating the brakes off the Vikings right now.
Hey, that's our Kirk Cousins. I'm telling you, that's
the Kirk Cousins we know.
Hey, just when Friday when I said they looked like they was might be real.
I told my man, like I keep telling y'all, man, don't never count on the Vikings being real. Never.
He wants to throw us the ball, so that's
never.
Hey, he's playing a tribute to the Godfather. I believe it was Godfather 3 when he said every time I try to get out, he keeps pulling. Y'all keep pulling me back in.
Pulling me back. That's
Kirk Cousins, man.
Yeah.
Every time I kind of believe he might be all right, he just goes back and proves me that he's not.
He Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
He's Kirk Cousins. He's an average quarterback at best.
Yeah.
Period. Put up a lot of stats.
Stats guy, right?
That's all. That's all.
To me, like the Phillip Rivers, man.
There you go.
Phillip Rivers. I swear, all his stats was when the game was on the line, he was gonna turn it over.
I hope never to have to see him with his shirt off wearing a gold chain again.
You talking about Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't get that out of my mind now, man. Can't unsee some stuff.
Ritual, right?
Yeah.
Hey, like thank everybody for tuning in. So we'll see you Friday. Is it Friday? The game is Sunday, right?
The game is Sunday, yeah. The game is Sunday.
Let's talk about that because I know that's post Thanksgiving. We'll talk about this
on Thursday, right?
Or
is it Thursday?
No, the Bears play Sunday.
Bears play Sunday.
Yeah, the Bears play Sunday. So yeah, we'll have to talk about it. See what we're gonna do.
Okay, everybody, peace.
Peace.
Thank you.